Chicot. This is chapter 24, part 1, Fear. The months passed and we continued to make new weapons and armor. Some of the weapons were of questionable quality. Chicot had developed some ceramic knives and swords. They kept their edge rather well and were easy to make. The downside was that they broke easily. Their sharpness did puncture armor as well, however. Another interesting little number was a type of bow and arrow. Its back had razor-sharp feathers of unknown origin. If fired without a special glove, your hand could easily get cut. The glove required a different type of firing technique, and Chicot said that the idea was to keep the enemy from reusing the arrows that they shot at them. One of my personal favorites was a coiled club with a solid pointed tip. It could be used for both blood and poker strike. He also made an odd contraction that allowed shooting a crossbow while hiding from behind a wall or under a trench. A good innovation was a rapier he called the sword breaker. It had a special slide on the sides close to the hilt, and if the sword was caught there, it would break the sword with a flick of the wrist. He also improved on the accuracy of siege crossbow. The strangest of the lot was a buckled strike shield attached to a glove. It also had a short blade inside of it, and Chicot called it a lantern shield. He was a bit disappointed that he had not come up with it sooner. In the fall, Chicot designed some of the most exciting weapons I had ever seen, and many questioned if those weapons would be of any use, and some of our guards did try them. However, they were clumsy at best, and as was to be expected of anyone trying to use a new weapon. Chicot saw one day Aberandus playing with the lantern shield and the sword breaker in the courtyard. I was watching him practice with his weapon with the vague hope of learning by watching. Chicot, interrupting his practice, said, "It is a little too late in the game to be learning new tricks." "It certainly helps pass the time," said Aberandus, laughing. "Fine, if you want new toys to play with, you only need to ask. Just don't randomly pick up weapons from the storage. Any missing or damaged weapon can cost the life of one of my patrons," said Chicot with unusual seriousness. "My apologies," said Aberandus, leaving the barracks like a sulking child. Another person who was training was Gita. She was practicing with Chicot's bizarre bow. I asked Chicot, "How is it with Gita?" "Peachy," said Chicot. "Why do you ask?" "It is just that you are not as close as you used to be," I said sadly. "Nor should we. The truth of the matter is that she grew up and I did not," said Chicot, pouting. "It can be as simple as all that. Maybe if you tell her the truth about you, she will understand," I suggested. "Our problems have nothing to do with the plague. She knows about my efforts to aid the sick and refugees, and in fact she supported my conviction. Alas, her problem is of a different kind," said Chicot. "So what is her problem?" I asked. Chicot shrugged his shoulders in response. He then said, "She expects me to know what's wrong without asking her. Indeed, I cannot see why she would suddenly despise me so. I found her petty jealousy quite bothersome, so I decided to end it off for good before I grew to hate her." "Why are you telling me this?" I said, taken aback by this sudden burst of honesty. "I am doing this to put an end to all the silly little rumors. Tell Aberandus, tell Paola, tell everyone in this story, so they stop badgering me with questions. What I do in my private life is my own problem, and they have no business telling me how to ruin my marriage," said Chicot, angrily getting up. As night fell, I saw Chicot walking towards his personal weapon closet. Inside, I knew that his Hernan and Sylvia armor rested. I thought that maybe Gita had grown jealous of the Sylvia armor because Chicot liked to spend more time with the armor than with her. Indeed, being jealous of a hunk of silver qualified as petty jealousy. This explanation for the termination of the marriage contract seemed at least more plausible. It had been some time since I had last seen the armors, and since I could not fall asleep, I decided to go check up on them. I was disappointed to notice that this time the storage room was locked. Normally, Chicot allowed people to enter and see his prototype armors. He had at least 20 sets, not counting the Hernan and Sylvia armors. I started circling around the small building to see if I could peep within. The sound about me suddenly fading, and it made my heart jump out of my chest. I rushed back to my room and watered away the silence by playing with a mechanical singing bird Chicot had given me. By turning a small lever a few times, the bird would sing a lovely tune for a few minutes. My eyes started watching the tiny golden bird for a few minutes, and when the lever started moving, I imagined I could still listen to the music. I figured that there was a true version of this bird singing somewhere in our gardens. And since I still could not fall asleep, I rose from my bed to return to Chicot's storage. The noise from the bird gave me more confidence to proceed. And when I went to the window, I gasped when I saw that the silver armor had a person inside of it. Since the person was standing still, I realized that it might be a mannequin. Mannequins were commonly used for dressmaking or to display certain clothing, and I figured that Chicot had placed the armor in a mannequin for aesthetic purposes. It must have been boring to just look at a lifeless armor just lying there. Having satisfied my curiosity, I went to bed. Sleep afforded me no comfort. I had nightmares about the strange girl depicted in my mother's compact mirror. In all my dreams, she never spoke, and at times, she changed into a most horrifying monster. And in my last dream, I half remember seeing the blonde maiden wearing the silver armor, and I woke up before she turned around. News of Bersament's supposed death had emboldened the Western Kingdom, and they have focused their attention in reclaiming some of the feudals controlled by Verageddon in their territory. Indeed, Verageddon always took care to have complete control over the ocean trade, and it was said that the victory was short-lived, and while trying to retake Aragon, the army suffered heavy losses, and the allied feudals were forced to return home to lick their wounds. Due to the wars, the roads were slowly being overtaken by bandits, and Verageddon was employing the bulk of its forces to quell the rebellion. As such, they could not be bothered to keep the roads safe. It was worse the further away it was from Verageddon, and our little town was practically surrounded by bandits. Whenever our guards went out, I gave one last look at them as if they were never coming home. Though the merchant trips took longer, our guards still managed to return home more or less in one piece. As usual, Chicot had a sixth sense about danger, and he would always mark on the map the size of possible bandit ambushes and the estimated number. Chicot was usually more on the mark, and he practically worked 20 hours a day developing armors. Any time he was supposed to be sleeping, he spent it locked up in the storage room talking to Hernan and Sylvia. At a certain point in the story, I began to think of the armors as real people. It was the only way to rationalize Chicot's insanity, and this storage room was quite unique from the others, and it was set apart from the rest, and in the middle of the garden it had a lovely white columns and 4 stained glass windows, and each one was facing the cardinal points, and the few times I had gone inside I had marveled at the roominess of it, and Chicot said he had designed it like a small museum. During a cold, sleepless winter night, I spied on Chicot from my window, and I also noticed the Sphinx Unla lying lazily on top of a tree, and she too was looking in the direction of the storage room in the garden. She saw me looking back at her, and thus she flew to a nearby tree closer to my window. "Johnny," she asked, "can't sleep?" "No," I said. "Me neither," she answered. "I'm dying of curiosity, Unla. I wish I could go inside the storage room and see all the changes that Chicot made to his armor," I said sadly. "That could be arranged. I know a lock-picking spell, and I can have the door open and close, and Chicot will be none the wiser, at least unless if he sees you," she said. "What do you mean by that?" I asked. "Nothing," she said. She added, "Let's wait until Chicot leaves, and once he's gone, I will unlock the door for you." Close to midnight, Chicot left the company of his armor, and he was once again in his workshop making new weapons. Though he was practically working himself to death, he still demanded that we only work for 8 hours a day. I tiptoed my way towards the storage room. As Unla had promised, the door was open for me. The room was rather dark, and it was a good thing I had taken a candle with me, and I grimly wondered how Chicot found his way in this dark room. And as I took a step forward, a faint blue candle lighted the walls, and at another time this would have alarmed me. However, Chicot employed magical motion-sensitive light. The blue candle still did not ward away the darkness. I half stumbled towards one of the windows and opened a curtain by way, just enough to get some natural moonlight. And after doing this, I became acutely aware of the silence that surrounded me, and the new light happened to fall on the Sylvia armor. The golden moonlight gave a strange splendor to the armor, and like I had expected, Chicot had put the armor inside a mannequin. After looking closer, I realized that it wasn't a mannequin, but a doll. A giant doll wearing an armor. Chicot made no attempts to simulate human eyes. He instead gave his Sylvia doll large, sweet blue eyes, a small mouth, and a little nose. Her face was not unlike the porcelain dolls Chicot made. Little girls for some reason like those facial proportions on their little dollies. And the Sylvia doll's hair looked beautiful, all with the golden curls and the tiara and pearls. The doll made a noise which sounded like giggling, and my heart started beating like a drum as I rushed towards the door, and I was shocked to find it closed and locked. And after vainly pounding my fist against it and calling Unla for help, I realized that the Sphinx had played a bad joke on me, like she locked me in the storage room with a creepy doll. I was only able to get out of there when Chicot came to check up on his armors by sunrise, and I didn't like the prospect of spending the entire night in the storage room. 2 hours passed, and I was trembling from head to toe. And the wind was still, and not even the crickets made a sound, and my eyes started playing tricks on me, and the low light made me think that the doll wearing the Sylvia armor was blinking. Time, bro?
4 minutes.
To dispel this illusion, I opened the curtains wider to allow more light within. Opening the curtains did not help much, seeing as though a dark cloud passed overhead, and now the only light came from the ominous blue candles, and they were placed in a peculiar way in front of the mirrors, and with the darkness came the rain, and it was comforting to hear the sound of the rain. And I sat in one of the chairs, the one facing the armors, and I was not too keen on wandering about for the fear of breaking something. And aside from the armors, the place was littered with small, fragile-looking items. I fell asleep while listening to the rain, and I woke up with a start close to sunrise, and the outside opened, and I heard Chicot whispering harshly, "What are you doing here?" I was sorry, I was curious, so my explanation was cut short by Chicot pulling my arm and half dragging me outside. All in a fury, he said, "Get out, get out." Once I was outside, he locked the door behind him, and when I was outside, I saw Unla silently laughing at me while perched on her tree. She was in the midst of her enjoying her prank, and for the next few days Chicot was distant, and I could feel he had grown to hate me the same way he had grown to despise Gita. And before friendship completely disintegrated, I decided to speak to him in private. I chose to speak with him as he was going to the storage room at night, and I waited for him to go there, maybe 2 hours, and it was unusual for him to break his routine, and when I returned to my room, I saw Chicot sitting in the couch beside my bed. Sighing, he said, "What is it?" "I wanted to apologize for going into your storage room without your permission, and may I remind you that before that you used to not mind people going in and out," I said, drawing a chair closer to sit by him. "That was before some bastard came in and broke Sylvia's left eye," said Chicot, clenching his fist. His face was twisted to a dark grimace in the darkness. "I've done a lot for you people, and this is the sense I get, and you too, Joseph, you are no better. You couldn't respect my desire to keep my things in one piece," said Chicot, shaking his head sadly. He rested his head on his hand to cover his face. I saw his shoulders shake for a moment, and I imagined he was crying. And I was about to apologize as I reached to touch the place that was once his left shoulder, and Chicot slapped my hand away before making eye contact, and shaking his head sadly, he said, "I suppose some things cannot be helped, and it was foolish for me to pretend that things would not happen as before." Reaching into his pocket, he handed me a key. "Here, you can visit my storage room as much as you feel like." He added, "Just don't hand over this key to anyone, especially Gita." "I don't understand you," I said, holding the key. "That makes me very happy, my dear Joseph," said Chicot, leaving my room with a playful smile painted on his lips. Bye-bye and God bless.